So today we are diving into the next chapter in the science of getting rich. We're talking about today is efficient action, which is chapter number 12 in the science of getting rich. Hey, hello, my name's Alan Vukas, and it's so good to see you here on this video. Every day, Monday through Friday, almost every day, I take some time to contemplate the principles of prosperity as outlined in Wallace Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich. And why I find, it says on the back of this book here, this may be the most important book that you ever own. And there have been, The Secret was a movie that was based on this book, and there have been tens of thousands, if not hundreds, or maybe millions of people since this book was written in 1910 who've applied the principles of this book, either consciously or unconsciously, knowing or unknowingly, by thinking and acting in a certain way. They have put the principles of prosperity into practice, and in so doing, they have set the law into motion and have brought into their life expanded abundance and prosperity. And rich, if rich means money for you, well, that's great. If it means health and relationships and harmony and every good thing, that's what when I read the word rich, it means all good. And so every day I'm taking some time to contemplate the science of getting all good and having and living and being that expanded sense of abundance and prosperity in my life. So up till now, what we've discussed, as Wattles has talked about in his book, that we need, if we want to be rich, however you define rich, then you need to think in a certain way and act in a certain way. The thinking in a certain way was that you need to have a purpose, which means a clear vision of what you would love to be, do, and have in your life. And I offered in earlier videos, I've offered different areas, 4 different areas to contemplate, to ask the question, what would I love in the areas of my health, of my creative expression, my vocation, my relationships, and also my time and money freedom. And there's other areas as well if you want to get more specific, your emotional life, your intellectual pursuits, your spirituality. You can, what would I love to be, do, and have in those areas? And then formulating a coherent image, then it is that you impress onto this formless substance that knows what to do and how to do it with whatever thought we impress upon it. By us thinking in a certain way, by us having a purpose, by us having faith that we are receiving that, and gratitude that it is working out for us. This is the thinking in a certain way. Well, then we also have to act in a certain way. And I started, I was reading this chapter last night before I went to bed, and also again this morning. And so I just want to offer a couple ideas. We're going to talk about this today and also in the next video, which will be on Monday. So the first half, I just want to share with you a couple ideas, and they got me so excited that I'm doing this video, this Facebook Live, actually a little later than I had planned, because I was inspired to take action on those things that are in my vision of what I would love to be, do, and have. Here, right at the beginning of the chapter, Wattles writes, he says, you must use your thought as directed in previous chapters and begin to do what you can do where you are, and you must do all that you can do where you are. And this is why action's so important. He says you can advance only by being larger than your present place. And no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. You know, yesterday when we started talking about the previous chapter, which is acting in a certain way, chapter 11, we began discussing the idea that we need to take action. What action can we do today in those areas? Ask yourself, what is mine to do today? If I believe that my vision was possible, if I believed that the vision that I have of living a life of increased abundance and prosperity and relationships and health, if that was possible, if I believed that that was true and that it could be mine, then what's one thing that I can do today that would move me in the direction of having that or being it or doing it? Well, yes, I know that so many of us are anxiously, yes, I want to do that. Oh, what can I do? And I can take that action. But in yesterday's video, I also offered to you, as Wallace Wattles talks about in his book, that we can't try to push away our current circumstances and avoid taking action where we're at as a way to leapfrog into where we want to be, because where we're at today is what it looks like. It is the means to the end that we desire. And if we are leapfrogging over the actions that we are called to do in our jobs, the job that you may despise, even that job, yes, there is something that is yours to do today in that job. How about doing the work that you're paid to do, but to do it by giving more value than you're receiving? This is the way that we need to approach. We need to give more value than we're receiving. What does it say here? I just read this. You can advance. Oh, this was the next sentence or the next paragraph. I did not read that yet. But this is the point. You can advance only by being larger than your present place. And no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. So if where you're standing today is you're being called to do something, then by you stepping into that role, into that action with a larger energy, being more, bringing more, generating more gratitude and appreciation, generating from within you, bringing into that job, into those relationships that haven't been working up till now, into your health, into your body, stepping into that larger version, the version of the life that is already living the vision, but bringing that into your current circumstances, then things begin to move. As he says on the next page, he says the progress of the world is retarded only or slowed down only by those who do not fill the places they're holding. You know, when I read that this morning, that really made me stop and ask, are there any areas of my life where I'm not giving, that I am not showing up fully and completely? It may be because I'm wishing that I didn't have to deal with it. I'm hoping that somehow that will be taken away. And maybe if I stick my head in the sand or defer it or delay it or put it off, that somehow it won't be, that I won't have to deal with it any longer. And I can't wait. If I push, I'm thinking as a kid who maybe doesn't like peas. My father, he wouldn't eat green peas. I love them, but he wouldn't eat them. As a kid, he couldn't. He said they would make him gag. And so he would push them around on his plate and maybe make them look like they had been eaten. Is there anything in your life today that maybe you've been pushing around and avoiding, but there's that within you that knows that what is yours to do? The progress of the world is retarded by only those who do not fill the places they're holding. If there's a task that we're called to do and we know is ours to do, but we're putting it off because this is not as exciting or interesting as that, then what we're actually doing is we're standing in the way of our own good. When an organism, I'm reading again, when an organism has more life than can be expressed in the functions of its own plane, it develops the organs of a higher plane and a new species is originated. If you're showing up with more energy and more ideas and more creativity, if you're allowing that to emerge in your current job, in your current circumstances, then what happens, as it says here, then the organism, you, develop organs of a higher plane and a new species has originated. As you begin to show up in a larger way, then you begin to live in a larger way. Here's one last idea that I want to leave you with today. He says, if there's something that must be done today and you do not do it, you have failed insofar as that thing is concerned, and the consequences may be more disastrous than you imagine. And really take note of this. Listen, this is on page 84 if you have a copy of his book. You cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Much may be depending on your doing some simple act. It may be the very thing which is to open the door of opportunity to very great possibilities. You can never know all the combinations which supreme intelligence is making for you in the world of things and of human affairs. Your neglect or failure to do some small thing may cause a long delay in getting what you want. That's where I want to leave off at today, and I think he says that very clearly. We do not know. I do not have the ability to see around walls or see through walls or to even know what is going to happen an hour from now. Have you ever made plans for the day and then somehow things showed up that took you in a totally different direction? Well, if there are actions that are or ideas that you have that are in your mind of things to do, actions to take, ways to show up more fully than you have before in a certain area of your life, then that thing is your part in cooperating and collaborating with life itself. Life itself is bringing to you the good that you are holding in your vision and in your mind. But our part is to make it welcome by clearing the space, taking care of what is ours to do. So there might be a phone call that you've been putting off, that you've been dreading because maybe it doesn't seem, it's something you want to avoid. There might be a something, you know what it is, you know what you may have been delaying or deferring or delegating or dodging or dancing around. Those are 5 Ds, I believe, 5 Ds. But make the phone call today. Write it on your list. Do you know there is a wonderful idea that I had heard was to take an index card and every day write down 3 things in the morning or the night before you go to sleep. I got this from Bill Phillips. He's a fitness trainer, an expert and motivational speaker here in Colorado. And he wrote a wonderful book called Body for Life. He's written a number of books, Transformation. He's written a number of books. And one is to write on an index card before you go to sleep 3 things that you are going to accomplish for the next day. And then do those first. And then when you scratch that off your list, then you have done what you know to do. And there will be other things that show up as well. But until you take the action, there is no reaction in the life around you to guide you and give you direction. You take an action, and then there's a reaction to life, and then in that moment you have clarity about your direction. For every action, there's a reaction, and in it you have clarity for the direction of what's next to do. So we may be waiting for some guidance down the road to show up. But until you take the step that's in front of you, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Until you take that step, the journey hasn't begun. And there is no clarity about what to do tomorrow until you've done what is yours to do today. Efficient action. Those little things, those ideas of things to do is the beginning of your demonstration. It is spirit, that intelligence in you, guiding you and directing you. And let's receive that guidance today. Let's anchor this in affirmative prayer. What I would invite you to join me in knowing today is this. There is only one power, one presence, one divine intelligence that has made you and me out of itself. And because that is true, then you and I are made of this God stuff, this divine substance, and we possess in our minds the same qualities and nature of the divine. And since we are made of that stuff, we are in relationship with it, then what I know here today is that all the good that is yours and mine is the good of God itself, and it is working it out. And it is waiting for us as we're waiting for it. And in the moment that we take action, it reacts in kind. So what I accept and know is that you and I, because we possess the nature of God, because the nature of life is our nature, then we have the means and the ability and the power to take whatever action that life is presenting for us today to do. So any worry or any stress or any fear, while yes, those are real experiences, they do not speak the truth of who we are, that we possess. You and I possess the means and the ability and the power to do what is ours to do. And not only that, but we are guided and directed and protected in that doing. And as we step through any imagination or of worry and fear and fantasies of what could happen, until we make this step, that is when we know. And so the life that is in us is greater than any imagination of worry. And we take the action. Hey, booty. We take the action that is ours to do today with grace and ease. And that is what flows into our life. I am so grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that we are co-creating. We are on the journey. We are practicing and we are thinking and acting in a certain way and putting this science of getting rich, the science of living our authentic life into action. And as a result of this is what is flowing into our lives effortlessly, freely, and without delay. And so it is. I look forward to seeing you in next week, Monday's video. Have a wonderful weekend. In the comments below, if you like, write down what is an action that you are taking today. What is something that you have been putting off? Or just give me a thumbs up if you are taking action on what you may have been putting off up till now, and that you're being efficient and acting a certain way. Peace and love. Namaste.